I've kind of added up here, add a little something to my arsenal. This is an MXR Classic Overdrive pedal. I've never been big into pedals. I always want to plug straight into the amp and go. The last amp that I had years ago, I sold it, I think in 2000, 2001. It was a Peavey Classic 50. All tube. That thing got some serious, you could get some good distortion, and I played it with the preamp on 10, the post on 10, and then used the master volume to control my overall volume. That thing it had a good, everybody, I'm playing Leonard Skinner and playing some ZZ Top, some Blackfoot, stuff like that, and Southern Rock's my primary choice, but I like a really hot sounding guitar. I really like, not necessarily massive gain, but a lot more gain than what Southern Rock calls for. And I kept thinking, well, I'll modify the Mace and I can get it out of it. I just set one channel up, backed off, look, man. I got it into high gain territory, but it lost it. It lost the Mace tone, lost the decent sound that a lot of you would say it has. Great sound that I say it has. But it just wasn't, it didn't have that character to it that it did. It was just cold, it was just, ugh. So I've unmodified that, and I've got it back where I like it now, and like with this, I've got the pre-gain on this is set probably just a hair below 9. But it's letting that natural tone of the amp come out. It's not really mudding it up. And I was going to get a pedal, but I had a really hard choice because I didn't want to totally change the sound of the Mace. I wanted it to still sound like the Mace. And I've listened on YouTube here for hundreds of pedals, and then I found that MXR Classic Overdrive, and everything that they played, I was like, man, that really has the overdrive on it has the same characteristics as the Mace does. It's really similar tone. I was like, if I could use that to push and just boost what I've got now, add a little bit more gain to it, and kind of mess around. I'm still in the feeling my way around stages, but I'm telling you, I'm loving this. I mean, this is a killer pedal. That's with the guitar volume on about 3.5. Still has the dynamics. Loving that. That is me. That's what I've always really wanted. Or what I've always really liked. I know I've done nothing but Skinner and the basically low to medium gain Mace and everything, but that's where I've always loved. Now, this right here, I can turn the reverb up, and you want to talk about some Gary Moore tone. I'm a major Gary Moore fan. And then when I found out he was running, I think it was a Ibanez TS9 tube screamer into his Marshalls, I thought, why would the dude want to run a pedal into the amps like he had? And listen to his sound. The sound he had. I mean, rest in peace, brother. I'm loving you, and I hope I don't screw your song up. I really do. But I love Gary Moore, and I love everything he did. He was a master of the blues, and his just in-your-face tone was just crazy. I loved it. I've always been a big fan of his. And it's been, I think the last time I even attempted to play this song was like 93. So, forgive me, Gary, everybody. I'm going to try to do it all right. It sings. It's got it. I mean, that's crazy. You know, I remember how to do Walking by Myself. Like I say, it's been a while. Sorry. But you get the idea. That little pedal right there can just make that kind of a difference. And I think that's a big key that a lot of guys, unless you're really wanting to go for just a totally change your amp sound, to where you have to run a clean channel to run the pedal and then have your distortion, your amp's natural distortion set up for two different distortion sounds. But if you want to keep your same sound, try to find a pedal and start off with an overdrive pedal. Don't go straight to a distortion. Start off with an overdrive and try to find something that matches your amp's natural overdrive or distortion sound. And then start off light and push it from there. I think that makes a big difference, personally. I know I've never been a pedal person. I'm going to have to, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to make up a pedal board. I've never owned one. I've always had a couple of pedals here and there, you know, a chorus pedal, maybe a phase pedal. I had an old MXR 100 phase pedal for years. It was built in the 70s. And, but I had that chorus pedal, and I've tried a few different distortion pedals over the years and never really liked them. I've always just stuck with what the amp had. But this right here, I mean... That's another great part. I don't have to sit here and take Satan's bullhorn and crank it up to ear bleed and crack the enamel on my teeth to get the feedback. You know, that's another thing that I like about adding that pedal. Is that, you know, it doesn't take, and that's actually, I've got the output, and the cool thing about this pedal, I'll get a little closer so you can see it, hopefully. The cool thing about this pedal, you've got your gain, then you've got your output, basically your volume, and then your tone. This volume doesn't really make that big of a difference as far as your overall volume, but it adds a lot to the. Basically, it's kind of like on a Marshall. You've got basically the pre-gain, and then you've got the lead gain, and then the lead volume, and then you've got your master volume. Works like that. The more you crank that up, the more dirt you get out of it. I mean, I could, you know, really boost that up to there. Let me set this down, and it'll just, I mean, just rock. I mean, it makes a nice mild difference to it, but yep, here it is, the 59. I'm loving it. This is just too good to be true. And then that pedal to top it all off, and I haven't even really had much of a chance to work with everything and find just the exact perfect, you know, dial it in, basically, settings on it. And the pickup was microphonic. The bridge pickup on this was microphonic when I got it. And I pulled it apart, and there was most of the wax was here at the base end, the low end. So I heated it up and kind of moved the wax around in there, put the cover back on, heated it up, tried to get it sealed good, and it was still microphonic, so I just pulled it back off, scraped all the wax out, took a little clear silicone. A friend of mine on the Peavey forums, Seduced, I call him Deuce because he owns a Peavey Deuce. It's his little brother to the Mace. He said to put a little clear silicone across the slug coil, it'll fix it. So I rubbed a thin layer on it, and I backed the screws out real good and rubbed it all around there to cover the whole pickup basically, and put the cover back on and squeezed it down real good and soldered it back, and it's cured the microphonics. I mean, without that on even that, if I'd turned the guitar, it'd go, you know, it'd start squealing. Now she's quiet as a church mouse now. Here it is. I'm loving this thing. If you ain't never built a guitar, buy yourself a kit. Watch the ones you get. I've heard some horror stories. Go to my Les Paul forums, and they've got a luthier section in there. It's in the custom shop. A lot of great information in there. I mean, there's some pro luthiers in there, and there's a ton of guys in there, including myself, that's got the full picture layouts and stuff. I go by Skinner 67 on my Les Paul forum, and showing, you know, step by step the process of, you know, making their own. There's a lot of guys that cut them straight out of the wood and then build them. A lot of guys buy the kits, and I figured, first one, I'll get a kit and see what happens with it. And Mr. Bagwell, he makes one awesome kit. He made it so simple to put this together and get it to this point and make it sound like this. And that just, you know, for a novice or a beginner, that made it twice as easy. But, you know, that's just something. Building it's an experience. I loved it, and my next step, I want to build one straight out of wood, but Skinner. But no, I'm loving it though. Can't say that enough. And I'm loving that MXR Classic Overdrive. That is cool. And for you Zakk Wylde fans, if you can find one of them, I got that on eBay for 49 bucks. You take the cover off of it, right up here in the corner. I seen this on YouTube also. There's a little switch right there. You can take a paper clip and flip it over, and you've got the Zakk Wylde Overdrive. Flip it back, and you've got the Classic Overdrive.